Good morning. My name is Sean Walsh. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager for Terminalfour, and on behalf of the company, I'd like to welcome you all to T44U 2012. It's our 5th year. Oh, how do we do this? I'm not the IT director. I clearly can't work this. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Jean. So this is our 5th year, as I mentioned. It is by far our biggest T44U conference. We're delighted to be so well represented across a lot of our different territories where we're working, a lot of different sectors from HE, from government to commercial bodies. In terms of our staff, as the company has continued to grow over the last year and over the last previous years, our staff numbers have increased as well, and you'll notice them all here. They'll be wearing their staff badges, so please do harass them throughout the 2 days. They're here to help, answer as many questions as they can, be as supportive as they can, so again, bully them. A big thank you to our partners as well, who always help make this event what it is. Pobble, you'll notice the guys are outside, and Polyspot as well, and then Onbeal, who provided the app for the conference, so obviously don't forget to download that. It's a T44U app. BitBuzz, they're the Wi-Fi providers, so you'll have seen it around the walls there in terms of the codes. This is it here, so if you want to log into the free Wi-Fi, it should be straightforward registrations. If you have any problems, let us know about that as well. So just in terms of the practicalities, fire exits, which hopefully we don't have to use, but run that way and run that way. As I said, the internet access has already been posted up here and around the venue. Please keep your phones on silent if you can. There's a lot of presentations going on, and we're just obviously to respect the presenters, we'd like just to have no interruptions. The Twitter tag is the hashtag T4FU, so we will be doing, as per usual, the evening entertainment, some spot prizes, so the best suites, we will be giving the prizes that will be chosen by members of staff. And we're trying to do something a little bit different this year. Obviously, we try and plan the agenda based on feedback that Laura sends out surveys at the end of every T4FU. Conversations with our clients that we have throughout the year, and also with prospects in terms of what's of interest to them. So we've set an agenda based on what we think people are interested in, but we need your help making sure that it's up to date. So there is a flip chart outside with some pre-suggestions, but feel free to add any other topics, and if we can get a high number in terms of votes, we'll finish off the sessions tomorrow with that. Again, as I said, a lot of our staff are here on site for the 2 days, so feel free to talk to them, ask them questions. If you want to see some demos, we have our client support guys here, we have our R&D team here, so ask them as many questions as you feel you want to. After the event, Laura, who's our head of client relations and support, will be sending out a survey just in terms of feedback so that next year we can make sure that next year's event is better than this year. And all the slides will be available on our Extra End, and we will be recording these sessions as well if you want to watch that. So really, Terminalfour uses T4FU as it's a huge part of everything we do. We're here to listen to you guys in terms of how you want the product to develop, how you want the service to develop, and basically how you interact and work with us. So that's why we are here. But from your perspective, we hope that you feel as part of the Terminalfour community and that you learn from your contemporaries and other organizations and institutions so that you can help us. We see ourselves as kind of an open source ethos, is where you guys are helping us develop the product, and that's what we want from this event, your feedback, your suggestions, and your input. We're going to make the sessions probably more about the product this year, because that was the feedback we got last year, so a lot more of what we've done in the last year in terms of the product that you may be aware of and you may not be, and then tomorrow's session as well, kind of a little bit of a future look of where we want to go and suggestions from yourself. One of the training, Dorta, who's our head of training and documentation, will take you through tomorrow. We've launched some new courses and updated some documentation, so she'll talk you through that then as well. Just in terms of the agenda, I'll quickly run through it so you have an idea of where we're at. After my stuff, I'll pass over to Piero and to David, who'll take you through kind of the company, where we've been in the last year and where we're going to take it going forward. Jean, who's our head of development, will kind of do a reading in the year, which is pretty much a snapshot of what's happened, our priorities and our focus for our site manager for the last 12 months. And then we start with our hot picks. And we do this in different guise every year, but basically our staff's favorite pieces of the product in terms of features and how people are using it. So we'll kick off with a couple of sessions on that, move into a break, and then Paul, many of you know Paul, he's been here for 100 years. He'll talk you through the publication enhancements, and we'll also have speakers from different clients as well. We'll move into hot picks, and then we'll go into lunch. And then a session that we put together, communication is your thinking 360. This is what we're getting asked a lot from new prospects from just the market in general, what's going on in content strategy, responsive design and social. So we have to do a session on that, and we've a lot of our clients and partners and ourselves speaking on that, so we're hoping it's a good session. We'll then move into improved user experience, and this is where we've put a lot of work, and Jean and her team have put in the last year in making the product not only powerful but incredibly easy to use, because we understand that if you guys have users that are maybe not technical, you have to make it easier for them to use it, they won't use the product. So there's a lot of stuff there we'll go through, and Piero and Brian, and we'll take through that, and Mick as well. Then we're going to wrap up a little bit early this year, and we're going to go up to the 5th floor for drinks. And there'll be, I think, champagne and Guinness reception for an hour or so, and then we have the Gravity Bar again. So there'll be food, we have a band, and then drinks till late. Although I'm aware it's Monday, so we can still do drinks till late. So day 2, we're starting a little bit later, just in case people do drinks till late. And we'll be starting off with our professional services side of the building. So it's Elaine, who's our head of professional services. We'll talk about how her team, the changes that have happened in her team since she's come on board in the last year. Then Laura, whom you'll know as well, will talk you through the changes in support in the past year and looking forward as well, and the extranet developments. Our partner Polyspot will show us, we've done a lot of developments for our own extranet to make it more easy for you guys. So Polyspot search will be an area that we'll be looking at, and we'll show you guys tomorrow. And then Dort will take you through more training. Coffee break, and then Paul, Jean, and David will talk you through the roadmap. So it's really what we're looking to do for the next year, and this is where your input is going to be so important, because it does shape what we do. And then finally, the last session will be basically what you decide and what you agree you want to talk about based on the flip chart outside. So I'm going to hand you over to Piero Tintori, as you'll know, as our CEO. Just one question. Yeah, can we? Move forward. Yeah. That's actually better than anything I've said in the last 15 minutes. Yeah, I can hear myself better. No. Just press play, it's recorded. Off it goes. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you can all hear me. Is everyone all right at the back? Great. I'm just going to nip into quickly for into the next slides. Which one? I never thought the time would come that someone would have to open a PowerPoint for me. I'm obviously losing touch a bit. Thanks, Jean. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming today. I know some of you have travelled very far distances, others a lot more local, but you're very, very welcome. And I have to say, I think it's like, I was trying to remember this morning how many of these events we've had and all the different places we've had them, but certainly this is one of my favourite places. And I hope to meet a lot of you over the next 2 days. So those of you who aren't, who I haven't met before, my name is Piero Tintori. I'm the CEO, and typically I'll have probably met you somewhere along the lines. What I'm going to do is just to give you, just for those of you who didn't catch the Wi-Fi password early on, this is it's fairly straightforward. If you're having any problems at all, like we've been kicking their asses for the last 2 years to try and make sure the Wi-Fi works for lots and lots of devices. Is it not working for you? Is it? Oh, okay, Susie, I'll have a quick look and we'll see if we can have a look. It should be up in the top right-hand corner. There's like use a voucher and you put in the code and it should kick in. If you're having any problems, maybe tweet us and we'll go and sort out what the problem is. Oh yeah, of course you can tweet. I'm very sorry. I'm just going to walk away in shame. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so really I just wanted to give you a quick update, and hopefully, I know we're running a little bit behind, but hopefully I'll be able to give you a good overview of what's been going on the last year. A lot has been happening. We've had about 45 new clients in the last year, and quite a lot of project go lives. Quite a lot, and these are all around the world, and I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown of where we're doing business. A lot of the work we do, obviously many of you are in higher education. It's a big market for us, and one that we've been doing very well in the last year. In government has been another one. That's both in local government and also in central government. and international agencies, and then some commercial work as well. Some interesting clients, definitely. I'll talk about some of the highlights, but some big organizations like the OECD we're very proud to have as clients. And we've also got a wide range of others, really everywhere from British Columbia, Alaska, literally all around the world, over to even Australia as well. And yeah, so it's all quite exciting. And many of you who are here from those organizations, you're very, very welcome if this is your first T44U, and hope to see you at lots more. And actually something we're doing this year is we're running a mini version of this event in Boston as well for some of our US clients who can't make it across the pond. So just to give you an idea, like here's a full list of all of our clients and the go lives in the last year. Don't worry if you can't see them all, but I think the key point is that we've really managed to get a lot of traction with our solution. But I suppose what really gets us, what makes us successful is having a good product. And as Sean said, this event is literally all about us being in tune with what you guys are looking for from the product, and you guys being able to give us direct feedback and direction as to what way you'd like the product to go. And I suppose, what are your concerns, and what are the areas that you foresee in the next year that you'll need help with? So I think some big things, our biggest market, I think as many of you have noticed, is economic times have been difficult in the last year. Certainly what we found, certainly in the UK higher education market, budgets have been really been very, very tight. But in the US and Canada, we're not seeing that. We're just seeing them, you know, oh, what recession or whatever, and they're just carrying on, and it's all been very positive over there. What's also been a big thing for us this year is we've actually signed up two of our first two Australian clients as well, with RMIT in Melbourne and Macquarie University just outside Sydney. So we're very, very happy that they aren't here today, but I'm sure they'll join us online, like on the videos later on. But maybe next year we'll have them along. Really, I think overall, I think one of the key points is, because of your help, we've been able to drive the product, and therefore we've been able to pass out a lot of our competitors internationally. And I think for us, it's really been important, and the feedback from this event has really been important. We've had a lot of go lives, and even our community has really grown, particularly in higher education. But that said, we are really government higher education and really financial services and some travel industry work that we're doing are actually our key markets for us. This is, in terms of geography, this is the last year. You can see, I think, for many of you who've been here over the years, this diagram will have changed quite a bit over the last 4 years. I mean, 4 years ago, we weren't really doing any work in the US or Canada, and now you can see that I suppose it's quite balanced. And I think this is helping us a lot because of the economic conditions and so on, that at least in some markets like Australia, there's investment going into the web like you wouldn't believe, but things in the UK have been very difficult for many of you, and so on. So I suppose a key point, so we think we've gone live with we've helped with about 100 go lives this year, but we think probably yourselves, you've probably launched many, many more sites. So what we're going to do is, in the survey after the event, if you can let us know roughly how many sites you have. We think last year when we did the survey, a rough estimate was we think we power about 1,800 websites around the world. So we want to try and see what that figure is this year. So any sort of feedback in the survey as to how many sites you're running off the system would be very welcome. Some highlights, I think, what I'm going to do is go through a few of the highlights of sites that I think are worth taking a look at. Sacred Heart University is definitely one that I think is certainly the cusp of a bit of a wave of development. For many of you who've heard about responsive design, and some of you might have actually done work in responsive design, it's definitely the hot topic this year. I mean, you only have to go to conferences and things like that to really realize how hot a topic this is. Certainly, this is our most recent responsive design project. It was done in collaboration with a design company called New City, based in the US, and a very good firm, actually, would highly recommend them. And it's a site definitely worth looking at. I think this site is really one of the ones. We did work with Lancaster University as well, And that's a really good responsive site as well. So with Lancaster and Sacred Heart, we're really learning about the needs around responsive design. And this is something that I think that we can feed back to you if you're looking for advice, particularly how it impacts projects. Hugh is going to be talking about responsive design and how we approach it in our own system later on as well. And I think it's something that if any of you have any questions on, we'd be happy to answer them later on. The OECD is one of our probably largest projects this year. It was, I think we say it's about 1 million plus pages, but I think it's quite a bit more than that. But how this has impacted us and therefore benefits the rest of you is we had a huge amount of data to work with, and we were able to actually make some really interesting developments and breakthroughs in terms of publication performance. So I know many of you might be, for those of you who are super nerds, or even not so super nerds, but just happy to be a nerd, or just super, there you are. It's a key area for us, obviously, because if you're using a static publishing model, and we'll be talking about that today, and there's been some really interesting developments there. Definitely worth checking out the site as well. They're using a lot of related content, so when you go into certain countries, it finds all the reports about those countries and so on. And the International Energy Agency as well, another key site, and it was great to work with the guys there. And it's definitely another site that's really worth taking a look at. And it's certainly, I think it's a bit of a further development of work that we've been doing in sort of work for international bodies. And certainly a site worth checking out. Lancaster, I think certainly an award-winning site. And it is actually an award-winning site. It's not just something that we go, oh, that's award-winning. It actually has won awards. But it's again another responsive site that's actually really worth taking a look at. And the design was done before we got involved, and we migrated it into the system, but definitely worth taking a look at. University of Derby is a fantastic new site as well. It's gone live, looks really well, and it's part of, I suppose, an overall redevelopment that's happening at the university as well. And then we've done some smaller sites with some existing clients that have been here for years. I know some of you from UCD might be here. Some work with the Innovation Centre, the medical school. This is a really nice site if any of you are into graphic design. This is the School of the Arts Institute in Chicago. What I would say is go onto the homepage and scroll up and down. We didn't do the design, it was done with a crowd out of Philadelphia, but it's a bit of a crazy, crazy design. So it's worth actually taking a look at, and I think the response since the site has gone live has been really, really positive. Because they're an art school, they really need to push the boat in terms of how the site looks. Definitely worth taking a look at it as well. All of these slides as well will be online later on, so we can, if you're scribbling down all the URLs and things like that, we can it will save you having to scribble them all down. We did some stuff with Saginaw Valley State University as well. So it's a very nice site. Again, very limited resources that they had available, so I think it was a great redevelopment of their site as well. And with some great work that we've done with the Central Statistics Office here in Ireland. There was no redesign work as part of this, but some of the work was about extracting data and putting it up onto the website. In particular, some features to do with being able to extract specific information from Excel documents automatically and publishing them up onto the web in HTML, and something that we'll be speaking about later on as well. As you can see, there's been really a wide collection of projects that we've been involved in, everywhere from British Columbia over to Halifax and so on, and definitely projects that we're really very, very proud of. And some really high profiles, one for the Government of Ontario as well, and we're very, very proud of them. One that we have coming up on January 1st is, well, I think it's going to go live before January 1st, is for the EU presidency, which is in Ireland as well. So this year they've actually got the site looks fantastic, and it's one that definitely we'll be mentioning in our newsletter when we're going forward. So really, to give you an idea, just before I go into some of this information, some of the key things I would say is we're trying to keep you guys up to date as much as possible and things. And as you've seen, we've upgraded our newsletter during the year, so feel free, to pass on to friends if they want to, not necessarily friends or colleagues or family even if you want, you can sign them up to our newsletter. Our newsletter probably has the best source of information. Twitter probably has some key, like if something needs to get out there pretty urgently, if there's a little notice or something like that, or just generally us rambling, you can catch us there on Facebook as well. You can hide the fact that you like Terminalfour on Facebook if you want, if you're a little bit embarrassed, but don't be embarrassed, it's okay. So really those are our main mechanisms for keeping you up to date, and particularly the newsletter has some nice content. But any feedback, if there's any particular things that you'd like us to cover, or any particular projects you've launched that you'd like us to show off, we're always happy to get contributions from yourselves. We've also started to do more work with our SlideShare account. So all the slides so for this year they'll go up on the extranet, but then after 12 months we put them public onto SlideShare, just so their competitors can't figure out all of our secret stuff. SlideShare would be the great place to find our presentations. And we have a new YouTube channel, which is in its infancy, but it's basically youtube.com/Terminalfour. We got a great URL. Don't ask. It was some skullduggery that happened in a pub. So we basically got a really cool URL. But we're going to be putting more and more videos up there as well. So where we are now is we're up to about 67 people in the company. Pretty very different for those of you who were here 4 or 5 years ago. We've offices in Ireland, England, the US and Boston, and also now the big development is we now have a small presence in Australia where we have 2 people working there. And we've got about 350 clients, with new clients this year in Qatar, Hong Kong, and we've got clients in the other countries as well. Mainly, I suppose, Europe and then the English-speaking world. I think for us, it's really been a really interesting year because we've brought in a new level of management, new people like really skilled people like Jean and Elaine and Una from a finance point of view. It's really been an interesting year for us to try and build a good company structure to help support yourselves. But ultimately, without yourselves, we would just be people coding away quietly to ourselves, and that wouldn't be any fun at all. So I really have to thank you for your business, and it's been great working with all of you, and something that really this event for us is so key because we really get to know about what you're looking for. So I think it's been a really key one. Rollout version 7 has been rolled out to more and more clients up to 7.3. Up to 7.3, which version 7.3 we'll be talking about at the event. We've been growing our partners. We've been getting a lot more recognition internationally as well, and we've been winning a few little awards and so on as well. So what I'm going to do is literally from this point of view, in terms of the market, I think there's some key areas that we're looking to focus on. I think what we're really seeing is that because of budgetary concerns, people are having to do a lot more with less resources. And I'm sure many of you will agree with that every probably couple of months people go, oh, can we be on Pinterest? Can we be on this? Can we be on, and it's like, okay, well, there's just like me, or there's just like the 3 of us or 2 of us, or, I think that's a common thread that's happening across the world, is that more people are becoming demanding. They've seen their daughter or their son using some fancy new thing, and it's like they wander up and you can almost see it coming, and like you hide behind the desk but they won't leave, and then you sort of have to go, oh, I was just fixing something. And then, but in practice it is the whole problem of resource. So what we're trying to do with the product is trying to automate as much of as many of the things as possible for your day-to-day lives. That's including making improvements for those of you who are web developers, so it's quicker for you to do things. It also includes things like linking in with social media, so you can do things faster, but also trying to have more sample code that you can reuse and you can share stuff between you as well. And I think that all links into channel delivery. I think the big thing is responsive design has become a hot topic, that if you're not aware about it or you haven't played around with it, it's the big thing at the moment. And it's really for those of you who aren't too aware of it, it's all about repurposing the design of your website, so to speak, so it adapts to different shaped screens and different devices and so on. What I'd suggest, go on to something like the Sacred Heart website or Lancaster University and just change the width of your browser, and you could spend a few minutes doing that back and forth and see how it all changes. But it's something that we're seeing a big thing as well. What we're also finding as well is there's more requirements for specific modules for many of you, and many of those we're sharing out among you. So very happy. We're showing off some of those today and tomorrow. But if you have any particular requirements that might maybe of benefit to other people here, we're very happy to take that on board and to develop some specific modules for you. I think that the last one here, which has been a big thing for us, is a big change, is that probably about 50% of our business now is for people of actually asking us to host the application for them. So we've set up like a SaaS and cloud environment for our software, but we're definitely seeing that a lot, probably 50% of new clients are actually asking us to host at least the CMS, and then a smaller number we're hosting the websites as well. And I think it's the whole idea of either IT are too busy to really service yourselves, or there's just the cost with sort of managing servers and everything like that as well. So if that's something we can help you with, just let us know. We're very happy to help. So really, as I said, this is a slide that we showed last year, and it's all about managing your web world. What we're trying to do is provide all the tools, or at least be able to link in to all the tools to help you manage the day-to-day lives of running lots and lots of websites. And that's something that is our key to our strategy at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass over to David. David, just to give him a quick introduction, had a little bit of an accident when he went on holidays in September, and his foot is, when he's not in his wheelchair, his sort of foot is up. So David's going to be speaking from his, are you actually just speaking from there, David?
From my throne here, Pierre.
Yeah, from the throne over there as well. So apologies, but David unfortunately isn't able to stand up at the moment. So I'll pass you over to David, and David's going to talk a little bit about growth over the next year and our plans.
Thanks, Pierre. You can all hear me okay? So I can actually stand up, but I just fall over quite quickly. So if anybody sees my spare shoe anywhere, if you can give it back to me, it would be great as well. So normally at these events, I wander around a lot and try and chat to people. If you can come to me this year, I'd be very grateful, because otherwise it's going to be... And if people can help me down off this podium, it's not exactly wheelchair or crutch accessible. A really quick couple of slides here that we just wanted to get through after Piero's introduction. And just, I think Piero's covered off a fair number of things already. One of the things that we want to do this year is we've got, over the last few years, and this is our 5th for you now, I think it is, yeah? Something like that. We always get the comment, you guys are getting very big, how do you keep up? How do you keep on looking after us? So how do you manage the growth? How do you scale for the growth? And a lot of what this year, since November of last year to November of this year, has been about is basically establishing a whole infrastructure for us to continue to deliver as part of the global expansion we've been going through. And Piero's already mentioned the staff numbers, which are dotted more around the planet now, which is great. But one of the big things we brought in last year was actually to bring in, to beef up the management team. We already had a great management team before, but to basically beef it up as we've grown. So a few people there that are worth mentioning. Is it Elaine, are you here? Yay. Right down the back. Elaine, last year, her first, stand up and say hello, wave hello. Our first, T44U last year was Elaine's first day in the company. Okay, so she's been here a year and hopefully loving every second of it. Elaine spent a lot of this year basically beefing up the whole professional services organization in terms of delivery, and she'll be going through a lot of this tomorrow morning as well. Jean was here last year, just joined just before T44U last year as well, so the whole R&D side of things has really been beefed up this year. Laura, who you all know well, is basically taken on a role heading up support and client relations, and she'll be going through what her year has been with you tomorrow as well. While Paul's taken up product architecture stuff, all the exciting things we've been doing in the product, including some of the developments which have gone into 7.3, which you'll be hearing all about today and tomorrow, but also what we're planning for 7.4 and beyond, the whole Site Manager Live development and stuff like that. So really focusing in on the core product. Una, Piero mentioned, has been heading up the finance side to make sure that we're on our toes from a profitability analysis, and also chasing people for payment and stuff like that. So it's been a great asset for the company. And then Dorta with the training offerings. One of the things which we've done a lot this year is we've been beefing up the training offerings. We have a whole new training course we brought in for advanced web developers. We'll be running that over the next few days in Grafton Street here, around the corner from here. And we'll be running it over at the T4M conference as well. So there's a whole bunch of additional training offerings we've been doing as well, including the API developer training. So really, the idea is to, as well as the core management team, we've also been beefing up the whole company as a whole to make sure we can deliver stuff on time, to quality, for yourselves as we grow, to make sure we continue to deliver. So hopefully, you'll have less of Piero and me talking this year and more of other people talking. Behind all this is a whole bunch of changes in systems and in terms of our processes internally. You'll hear a lot of stuff about things like our open access self-service capabilities to allow you to log things separately. We're enhancing our whole offering in terms of 24 access to people in the company from a break-fix support perspective. There's a whole bunch of things which have gone into delivery as well. And so you'll pick up on all this hopefully over the next few days. So please talk to everybody as we go through it. To make sure there's anything we're missing out, because this is really what we want to get right, because if we don't get this right, it hampers the growth for the company. Other thing we've been pushing, we continue to grow the partner program. There's a bunch of existing names, old names up here, and a number of new ones who've come on board during the year. Some of these are larger organizations and some of them are smaller. And these are basically dotted around the world. We're very pleased to have some of them here with us today. So John Deneen and the guys from Pubble. You'll see some of their work in our extranet, and you ask the question feature you see in our extranet, that's their service, which is basically plugged into the extranet, available for you guys to plug into your systems as well. We have a great new search offering which we're pushing out, which is from Polyspot, and I know Gilles and the guys from Polyspot are talking tomorrow, and that's available as well as we go through it. But a whole ton of partners, and if you know of other people who should be partnering with us, either from the design agency type of things, in terms of doing great responsive design, or implementation, we're always very, very happy to talk to new potential partners. So really what we're trying to do here is basically grow the engagement that you can have with Terminalfour so we can scale. And it's all about making it easier for you to engage with us and empower what you're trying to do. So we're targeting a number of areas for this. The core product, first and foremost. You'll hear about 7.3 over the next few days, and that's basically grown quite considerably. 100% of what's gone into 7.3 has been based on what you guys have asked for. Okay, so not everything's gone in, I'll say that in advance. We've done a lot of work, Jean and our team have done a whole bunch of work to make sure that we can basically ensure the quality is correct on that, and we'll go through that in her session in a few minutes. Integration with other systems has become huge for us. And one of the big ones, one of my personal hobby horses, is the whole area for enhancing the experience for web developers. We see one of our routes to market is by having web developers championing the product, and a lot of what we're trying to do now is to make it very, very easy for you, or your web developers, or our own web developers, or our partner web developers to find things to be easier to carry out. And we're looking for a lot of feedback on this as we go through it. And I mentioned already the project methodologies, resources, just to make sure we deliver. So more stuff going in all the time. So hopefully you get this impression over the next few days. And if you feel it's not working, let us know, because we're really keen to change that as we go through. Okay. Last slide, our second last slide, we're looking for ways to basically see what we can do in terms of offerings to you. I mentioned some of these already. These are a number of additional offerings, not just the core Site Manager product. I mentioned the Polyspot offering, it's available now, and a very, very well featured product. We've already got a number of engagements for this. Brian Calhoun's our expert in the search engine. It's also helped for by the fact that he actually used to work for Polyspot in the past, so in terms of use of the product. Social media integration, we've mentioned the work that we have with the Pubble guys, but also Mark Howard from CS will be showing you some of the this new social poster capability later on today, how you can post directly to Twitter and Facebook straight from your content as you're authoring it. Some nice stuff there. Piero mentioned the email newsletter. Hopefully we're now getting towards quarterly newsletter as opposed to quarterly newsletters that came out once a year. So we're on quarterly or better. This has all been enhanced by a new service we're offering that we're calling T4 Mailer, a very simple SaaS-based service which integrates in with Site Manager for you to allow you to actually do email shots out to wide audiences. We have a number of clients who have signed up for that. Mick Lyons, who will be jetting in from Las Vegas, if he hasn't arrived already, will be showing us all about this later on this afternoon. Finally, Piero has mentioned hosting. A lot of hosting offerings we have available to make it really, really easy to migrate to a hosting platform, either CMS or cloud. A number of our current clients are passing that on to us at the moment, and that's working quite well, including kind of multiple redundant website offerings, etc., to just basically take the bane out of your life in terms of managing your own infrastructure, and the training offerings I mentioned. So that's really it in terms of making things available to you. I think that's it.
Yeah, we talked to it.